record to the computer. Lovely. So welcome, Kim Searle, Emotional Mastery here. Thank you very much for tuning into this video, where now I'm going to be interviewing Cameron, and I'll get him to introduce himself in a moment in more detail. For those of you who don't know, I work with people who are experiencing lots of emotional or mental stuff that they want to get rid of. And of course, when my mission is about raising the vibration of the planet so they feel lighter, I'm looking for people who make other people feel lighter in many different ways. So Cameron, welcome. Thank you very much. And I know you can do this.
I mean, that was an incredibly well-worded maneuver into both lighter in the sense of feeling better and then actually physically feeling better. So yeah, I love that. Really quality intro. So yeah, just a little bit about myself. So I'm a self-employed personal trainer. So I work for myself, CRSC, so Cameron Alpha Strength and Conditioning. Strength and conditioning is really similar to personal training, but just in a slightly more in-depth knowledge as such. So I've worked with a variety of different clients, different members of the public, different amateur athletes, both for myself, but then also while studying at university. So I've got my Bachelor of Science in Strength and Conditioning, and I graduated in 2017. I had a year out where I lived in Rome for 9 months, which was a really cool experience. Certainly, it helped me with coaching, although it doesn't seem like it did. So I was teaching English out there because I went out there with very little Italian, and me sort of being a bit of a I guess a naive English person thinking everyone would speak English and I could get a job doing anything. It certainly wasn't like that at all. So so I found a job speaking English, and then that also helped me, one, to learn a bit more Italian and feel more confident with it, but then also it helped me continue coaching. So it is just, I guess with anything, I guess you can find this as well, it's you've probably got a formula in place as like a, not quite a one size fits all, but this is like your base model that you go from. And then from there, depending on the person, you then just start taking little things out, putting little things in and making it fit around the person rather than the person around your model.
I love that. Client-centered is what I call it.
Yeah, massively. And I think that's definitely what I think most people should be doing. It shouldn't be anything that you have to sing and dance about. It should be what your process is. Unfortunately, I think there's a lot of easy ways to make money, and one size fits all seems to work with a lot of people. So but yeah, I think my journey's just taken me, just continuing to work for myself, especially during this time where it's just a little bit a bit up in the air as such. But I think it's the same for everyone, so I can't feel like the world's against me. It's everyone's in the same boat, and I wish everyone just try and be as positive as they can with the situation. Look for the goodness.
And I love that. Well done, you. So I'm going to take you back a bit, really, because I got a bit excited because you said Italy, and I would love to spend more time in Italy, although not right now, clearly, because that's not the right place to go. No idea what's going on there. But when you went there, this was just after you finished university, did you say?
Yeah. So I graduated in the June, and then I moved out in the September with my current ex-girlfriend. So she was working out there as a teacher. And then, so I moved out there as well because I thought it's a wicked opportunity to give it a go, see what it's like. And I loved it. Really, really good fun. Brilliant culture. Lots of good food. I mean, pizza. Pasta. I mean, but like that was my first experience of fresh pasta.
Oh, was it?
I actually like stuff that would go out of date in the next few days. And it's changed my life for the worse because I don't like dry pasta now, and dry pasta is so much cheaper.
It is cheaper, and you don't notice how much you're eating either. Whereas the I think the fresh pasta is better for you all round, isn't it?
So good.
Just awesome. Whereabouts in Italy were you?
It was in Rome.
Okay. Oh wow.
So we lived probably about half an hour bus journey outside of the centre, which sounds like a long way it wasn't. It's just the infrastructure is just a little bit dated. To walk up the hill, so basically hills all over Rome, and it's a bit of a nightmare to
There's
walk.
7 apparently, if you wanted to know that.
I've walked up one of them many a time. So especially in the summer where buses they'd either come all at once or they wouldn't come at all. And you'd get on at this particular stop and it was just absolutely heaving all the time, and especially when it was really hot. Being on an old bus, and you just thought, nah. So the amount of times you walk up this long hill, and it probably took about an hour solid walking.
Oh my word.
Yeah, it was just a really steady, gradual incline, and my God, it was hot. So, I mean, at least you sort of feel kind of good for eating all the pizza and pasta. You can walk up one of the many hills in Rome and feel quite good about it.
So, whenabouts did you make the decision then to go into the PT business? Was that when you were in Italy, or when you got back?
So I think I've always wanted to do it. I think since being at college, probably college, where I had a fascination for the gym. I enjoyed training. I enjoyed training with people, and training to help me with my sport, which was rugby at the time. I think I really started to realise that I loved coaching was when I had my first experience of coaching when I was at university. So we would have to do coaching modules. So we'd be given a speaking exam, and it was, you have to break down one particular movement, talk through everything and what things you're looking out for that might be wrong, and then the ways you correct it. And then from there, I then went to a local gym and started coaching Olympic weightlifting.
Oh, wow.
So I got into that because there was, it wasn't like an internship, it was more like just an opportunity to coach some kids to compete in the London Youth Games. So it's all the boroughs in London, and they all compete against each other across a variety of different sports. So anything from running to, I think, like indoor rowing,
wow, athletics,
any sort of like track and field, individually small base sports that aren't team related. So we did that, me and one of my friends, and I just fell in love with the sport there. Started doing it myself as part of the university assessment, and then that's what got me into coaching, was going down to do some voluntary hours at the local gym, which was CrossFit Ivy at the time, but now it's the Tribe One gym. So I certainly give a lot of thanks to Matt for letting me come down and start my coaching journey there. Met a lot of nice people, quality people that I'm still in contact with, a few of them now. And it's just definitely set me up for my passion of coaching and helping people, and wanting to help myself as well. Just through continued learning.
I love that, and it's something that I endeavour to encourage my clients to do. Is, although technically they'll see me for a fixed number of sessions, normally 6, my wish for them is that they can continue doing what they're doing, or what I've shown them, on their own. I'd love them to keep coming back, maybe once a year, every 6 months, just for a quick top up, just to keep them in the right direction. But it's not yet something that everybody is doing, because you and I met through having the same coach, didn't we? And she's marvellous. And I think everybody should have one, but we're in the minority.
Definitely. I think, and I think your point was really nice, is like you're giving people the tools to be able to go off and do this themselves. And that's one thing that I've always tried to say as a coach myself, is I'd be much happier if I know that I can give someone the tools to be able to go and do what they need to do. If they want to come back to me because they enjoy the service or they feel like they're getting more out of it, absolutely fantastic. Then it speaks volumes as to what I've been doing, how they feel, or how they resonate with me. But then at the same time, if they don't want to come back, but they've actually learned a lot, then at least that way they can be a prime example of the hard work you've done, so they can see the transformation. If you've got for you example, if there's an interview pre-working with you and an interview post-working with you, talking about stress, anxiety, anything like that. And I think that certainly is a big part of coaching is giving people the tools to let them fly off and essentially become a better person. I think that's what all coaches should be, is there to facilitate someone getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's interesting then. Leads not quite nicely then, because I think you've covered it, but we're just going to package it a little bit more. Your whole ethos around working with your clients, your style of coaching. Can you explain that a little bit more to me?
Yeah. So I think I'm very much, I want to empower people, because I think a lot of people are sort of not necessarily demonized by training and going to the gym and such, but I think some people have some predetermined notions that all gyms are the same. So certainly gyms where you go to a membership and they're chain gyms, not taking anything away from them, you know, that there's a place for everyone. However, the people that I've managed to work with and I've had the fortune of working with, a lot of them are people who feel a bit self-conscious going into a gym. Sometimes they don't quite like the macho status of some gyms where you've got all the blokes posing in the mirror and stuff, and it can be quite intimidating, and I understand that. So I think it's certainly giving people the tools again to empower themselves, feel good about themselves, and use training as an accessory to their life. I guess essentially to make them feel more confident, better. I think mainly just empowering and making sure that
because I have to say I've donated so much money to gyms over my lifetime, and I'm from an era where, you know, the 80s, where it was really, you know, the thing to do and everybody had to be doing it, and I've dabbled on and off since. But actually what I find really challenging is it is that one size fits all. And I already shared with you before this video started that I have had glandular fever in the last couple of years. I'm still recovering physically. The rest of it's okay now, but it's about building up something that's very personal for me. But I think, if I'm honest, the underlying condition that led to the glandular fever has always been there. So whenever I've done exercising, I hurt myself. I can't tell how many bones I've broken. Just crazy. And, you know, bashed knees because I've fallen. I'm not allowed to say this on the video, I don't think, but, you know, head over heels. And and so many different small stuff, lots of it. And you just think, oh, exercise is dangerous, don't do it. The only thing that I got away with, in fact, I damaged myself in flipping yoga, but it was it was swimming, which has been my mainstay, I think, because everything is well supported in the water, isn't it? So very flowy. But I've even damaged myself with yoga. So my question is, after all that, is obviously you're client-centered. I'm assuming that you would build a program for the individual that would cater for those sorts of.
Definitely. I think so. The main thing, I guess, this could be advice for any coach, is just building a relationship with your clients. So I think what's quite nice is the people, again, who I've worked with, is definitely about trying to get them on the phone as soon as possible, just getting an understanding of what they're after, what they do, what they like, what they dislike, and then getting an understanding of how far you can push the boundary.
Yeah, I was going to say, what I dislike is exercise. How would you do it?
So again, if you don't, for example, let's take that for example. If you don't like exercise itself, okay, so what is it that you like that involves physical activity?
Well, I guess swimming would be the thing.
Okay.
It's a bit of a faff with the local swimming pools. What the one I like is a bit too small. I prefer the bigger ones that you can go to.
The 50-meter ones.
Yeah, like at the Aquadrome in Basingstoke.
Okay, yeah.
The bigger ones, because you really get going. And there have been a couple of occasions when I've been doing it long enough, and you're in flow.
Okay.
Love it. That's where I want to be if I'm going to do movement, in flow.
Okay, so then it's about sort of centering it around that. So, I mean, it would be writing some sort of like program about how to get fitter in the water. and then from there we can then just start to progress it a little bit more. So what activities do you like outside of the water that's physical?
Not much. Yoga, maybe. Yoga. I like yoga.
Okay.
I don't like walking. So running and
walking.
No,
Okay.
don't like walking. It's something I do have to look at. Bearing in mind, I'm all about emotional mastery. I do need to look at that. The other thing that I like, but I'm a bit shying away from, is cycling. Actually.
Okay.
I used to love my bike. It's the freedom, the sense of freedom.
Yeah. So again, it would be figuring out how we can get something like cycling into a program. So whether that means if we were to work together and I'd say, right, I'll bring a bike at this stage and we'll go for a cycle for half an hour.
How long?
Half an hour or something, or
probably make 5 minutes downhill.
10 minutes then a rest, 10 minutes then a rest. Or
all right then.
So it's certainly, yeah, I think the main thing is, again, it's all got to be centered around the client. So yeah, I went off on a massive tangent there.
No, we haven't, because actually it's going to bring me on really nicely to my next little bit, because I did say I'd bring it in. Is that you're currently, because of obviously the coronavirus and everybody's business has just taken a bit of a dive. You're currently, if I may share, working part-time.
Yeah.
At Morrison's? No. Yeah, Morrison.
Yeah.
So I said to you, wouldn't it be great if while all these people are working, that you could build in some sort of PT, lift and put on the shelf, lift and put on the shelf, running up and down the aisles once or twice. I don't know.
It might work for those that have been doing it for a very long time, because I think their body clocks are a little bit more used to it. They know obviously the best way to get to sleep, get up.
Oh yeah, because you're doing overnight at the moment.
So overnight, which is 10 p.m. till 7 a.m. So I've done the last 2 nights. So it's not horrific. It's just something that's going to take time to get used to. Yeah. Trying to stay up throughout the night, continue working, try and actually make sure you're still lights are on and someone's home, because
it's a good point. I love the fact that you've taken what I've said and you've obviously asked some really good questions. So it's a good view of what you can do. You're beginning to understand more about how lazy I am. So
I wouldn't say lazy. No, it's just it's tapping into what would work with you. And again, it doesn't have to be at that end goal. So if your goal was to be, I don't know, exercising like 4 times a week, for example, this is like quite a common goal with people. Instead of saying, okay, well, let's go from 0 to 100 like that. I mean, chances are people can either go up to that 100% for like 3 weeks, and then they'll just go, no, I can't do it anymore, and they'll completely drop off. And chances are they won't maintain anything with it. So one thing, again, things that I've been reading, been listening to a really good podcast last night with Mike Robertson, and it was one that he brought out recently, really good. It's this guy who was in the Marine Corps in America. He's started up multiple little small businesses in terms of like training, and he sold them off, made one, sold one off, and a lot of his stuff is about mindset and goal setting and stuff. And what really resonated with me was, and it's something that I use with my clients all the time, is small, manageable, successive wins.
Yes.
Certainly give you a big payout at the end. So instead of going from that 0 to 100% and trying to get there as quick as possible and then trying to flatline, why not just go generally in a trend where it might take a little bit longer, and it probably should take a little bit longer, but then if you can get to this point and that's consistent, that's easy for you to then hold on to, then that would be a massive win, instead of up across and then just going nope, and then just completely dropping off the face. Really
interesting. I wrote an article yesterday for a local community magazine, BuzzFeed, don't know. So that was all about goals and how do they work. And for people like me, goals are really not good. I mean, I've done a lifetime of goals and I just hear them. In fact, at work, I used to call my objectives, which are just goals in disguise, as objections because I didn't want to do them. It wasn't for me. So, it was really, I got really quite negative about them, but that's a whole nother story. But I talked about intentions.
Okay.
Intentions are softer. Intentions are saying you're still going for the same thing. You can still measure it. You can still the whole SMART thing. You've still got this end place you want to go, but the intention is that you'll do it. And of course, if you don't do it, you still measure and realize it, but at least you take off the whipping stick that a goal seems to come. Because I think that's the other thing around the industry that I'm here listening to you and a couple of others, it's beginning to change. This idea that you keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And I think people just don't want that necessarily. They want to get fit, but in a way that works with them. And I like that idea.
Yeah.
You take it in. And you just said beforehand you were listening to or reading James Clear, Atomic Habits. Right?
Yeah, just before this, I thought, because, I haven't been overly productive. I've probably been awake for about an hour.
Yeah, well, you worked
2 hours now, so I thought instead of sitting here doing nothing, I thought I'd just do a bit of reading whilst waiting for the call to start. But again, it's a wicked book, and again, he breaks it down into different ways of doing it. I can't remember it off the top of my head because I need to read a book a couple of times to actually get.
I hear you. For me, the one thing he does say is to build a new habit or intention, if you're like me, onto an old one.
Yeah, so I think what chat is that under?
I don't know, but it was a really powerful opening.
Yeah, it's like habit building. So if you've got, I think it's along the lines of if it's like a negatively deemed habit, so something like watching TV, for example, some people might see that as a negative thing. I think the example he uses in this is I have to do this before I then get the rules. So it's kind of like a reward, like task reward type situation. I might be wrong in the example that you're using, but certainly
no. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's all information out of the book, and one that I know you're enjoying, and I would thoroughly recommend anybody watching this to get the book because he's awesome in the world of habits, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
brilliant. It's just it's not filled with big words that people wouldn't understand. It is very much for like the lay person. And again, he sets it up really nicely in terms of breaking the book down to obviously different chapters about doing this specifically for one habit. So I think the way he talks about it, there's 3 laws. So the first one's make it obvious. So obviously make obvious what the task is that you want to do or want to change. Make it attractive, make it easy is a third law, and then make it satisfying is a fourth law. So 4 laws.
Yeah. Right. Okay. No, I didn't know those because I knew him.
I just checked the contents page.
That works. I knew from a previous incarnation, and I used to follow his blog, and I think he had another book that I did read. So I would like to see how his stuff is updated, because that's interesting actually, because just like James Clear, you've started out, you've evolved from where you were training before, and we've talked about some of your experience, but how do you see things evolving for you and your business and maybe the training industry as a whole?
I think the main thing I'd love from all of this, and especially when the virus is hopefully gone in the next few months, I think getting people to understand that health and fitness is not about just looking good, it's actually about feeling quite good as well, both I think physiologically but then also psychologically as well. So I think I'm hoping that there's going to be a big boom of people wanting to get to a gym, almost like another New Year's resolution type thing. That would be the dream, obviously, because then it just means that I can then start working again as soon as possible with people who feel like they're ready to make that change. In terms of my business, I think just to continue getting bigger and bigger, trying to connect with more people and trying to get my message out there a bit more, which is again just a passion and a love for exercise and a love for seeing people become better because of something like exercise. Again, whether it's better in their sport, whether it's better at home, whether they can play with their kids, play football with their mates, anything like that, where although training doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be your life unless you're a professional athlete. And even then, a lot, professional football, half of them, from what I've heard with working with other coaches, half of them hate going into the gym. They just want to kick a ball about all day. So it's normal that you might not want to go to the gym, but the benefits that has on so many different aspects in your life is one that you should really try and experience. Yeah. I can try and tell you over and over and over again because it's my job, but then it probably just seems like it's either a really hard sell or I'm just completely biased because it is my job and my passion. But I think the more people can discover it themselves, obviously it gives them the chance to want to change rather than someone almost like pushing an agenda upon them.
Yeah, that sounds great. So of course, obviously during this lockdown, there's two types of people, isn't there? There's those who have built up the whole Joe Wicks exercising regime. I've heard it's just crazy. And adults are sprawled over the floor while the children are still doing whatever they do. And then you've got the others who are just eating their way through the 3 months. So of which I sort of fall into that category. So how are you continuing? Because I know you've still been getting some new clients, which is fabulous, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But how are you working with them at the moment? How's that going?
So a lot of my stuff is over Zoom. So I've set up a boot camp for some of my clients, and it's open to anyone who wants to join. I've got information on my Instagram, and I send out an email again to try and do it. So Zoom's wicked, and I think they must be absolutely loving this. The amount of paid memberships they must be getting from this is unbelievable.
Yeah, I paid for it.
I think I'm going to have to, because the annoying thing is with the 40-minute one, my boot camps are about 40 minutes, but usually at the start you'll have like a 5, 6, 7 minute like social with the members. So ends up being you have to do a workout, you have to close it down and then start another one so it doesn't cut out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've set up an online boot camp for clients. So you just complete it in your living room. If you have equipment, perfect. If you don't, you can just use your body weight. And I try and tailor it as best I can based on like ability level. So if you're not comfortable doing a specific movement, I would do my best on the spot to try and give you an idea of what you could do differently. Or ways that we can work around it. So hopefully it's still quite personalized and it's quite tailored, because I think there are so many boot camps that market to the masses, it would be impossible for them to really try and individualize each exercise. But whilst this is still quite small compared to other boot camp companies I know, it still gives me the chance to work with clients, but then also to try and work with new clients and help them through this time. So got an online boot camp. I do a couple of online sessions with clients as well. So again, if you've got equipment or if you've got the desire and the space to want to do something, you can always get in contact and we can just have a chat on the phone. I can just try and either give you some ideas or again, try and let you know how I can help you. I think that's it. I try and put out content on Instagram when I can, whether that's workouts with just like a resistance band, like one size band, or some weights or a dumbbell, or even just body weight, anything along those lines, just to try and help people through this period of time. Because I think especially staying at home whilst you can't go out and have those social interactions and you're not able to, I guess, experience more of the world and mix with other people, it can get quite difficult. And I think certainly a lot of people are starting to feel a little bit of cabin fever at the moment. So
as you said, I just talk about being stir crazy. I see them. It's very funny.
But anything along those lines, where I think usually exercise, one, you'll take your mind off being stuck indoors for a period of time because you're focusing on the discomfort of going through exercise, or the enjoyment of going through exercise, depending on how you view it. But yeah, I think this is a time where, although we can't physically connect with people, I think this is a prime chance for people to connect over social media, I've spoken to people that I haven't spoken to in months. I've been able to speak to people over the phone or on video call where I haven't seen them for a while. So it is quite a nice thing to come out of it, is just being able to connect with people socially, so online.
I think so. I think, people have connected more than they realise. I know we haven't physically been connected, but I think there's been a lot of this going on, to the point that my daughter is turning around and saying she's had enough of Zoom. She can't do any more calls. Bless her. So if there was, because I think we've covered most of the questions I wanted to ask, but if there was one form of exercise you would not do, what would that be? Because I'm just curious, because I don't do any if I can help it.
Wouldn't do?
Yes, what wouldn't you do? Because it would make you like us. Couch potatoes.
For me personally, or stuff I would give clients? Me personally.
I just sort of throw in a random one.
There's nothing I wouldn't do, because I think as a coach, if I was to give something to someone, I would have to myself be able to do it, and not necessarily love it, but have an ability to be able to do it and understand what it is. In terms of exercise, if it was like a sport, maybe, I think some sort of like combat sports, striking sports, it's not for me.
And you did rugby, isn't that contact?
I did rugby, and that was fine, because although you're running into people and you're tackling people and you're trying to obviously get them to the ground, it's not necessarily like aiming for someone's head repetitively.
I see. Yeah.
And trying to really, the goal is either to knock them out or to move around enough that they can't knock you out. And
I'm with you.
And for me, it's not for me. A little bit fragile in the head, and no, not for me. No combat sports.
Yeah. But I think eventually that will become evident that that's not a good thing to do generally. So it's a good answer to that. Thank you. I'm just going to throw another one in, because you're such a good person to interview. If there was one thing that we've not covered but you'd like viewers to know about what you do or who you are, what would that be?
I think most of the stuff that I try and instill to people, I probably do better whilst talking to people as opposed to writing it down. I am writing an ebook at the moment.
Well done.
With I guess almost like 4 different sections of based around like health and fitness. So I'm doing one about obviously training itself, different types of training, and how that can help you obviously lose weight, gain weight. Those are probably the 2 main goals, but again, this is hopefully going to try and give you some ideas how you can tailor it yourself, or give you an idea to show you what I'm capable of, and then you might inquire about more information, I guess. So you've got the training aspect, you got the nutrition aspect. So obviously, what you put into your body is obviously going to benefit you or negatively impact you. Talking about, I guess, weight loss and weight gain, better ways of doing it, and I'm not really going to mention quicker ways of doing it, because that's not part of my coaching ethos. I'd much rather someone lose weight with the intention of getting there within like a year, because I think then again it makes that habit more sustainable and it gives people the chance to keep the weight off.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah, absolutely.
I think so. So I've got the nutrition side of it. So again, talking through different ways that you can do that. Thirdly would be things like recovery. So it'd be even just little snippets about, I guess, like foam rolling. So for those that aren't familiar, like a foam roller, different types of like self-myofascial release. So basically like self-massage technique.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Sleep obviously is a massive one, and you yourself would know a lot about sleep, and you know probably a lot of people in the industry about sleep. And then finally stuff about like psychology, so mindset, goal setting, having a plan to be able to take you to where you need to, instead of sort of being so overwhelmed with so many different things that you're trying to focus on. Having a clear direction and then steps needed to get there. So just trying to help them with that. So I'm writing that at the moment, hopefully going to have that done by mid-May, ideally. And then I'll just have it on my platform. So I need to figure out, I'll give it a little beta test and I'll send out a couple of copies, see what people's feedback is, and then try and jazz it up and make it look nice.
Lovely. Well, let me know. I'm happy to circulate with my few people.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Because obviously, as much as I seem to have a very wide audience, not everybody sees everything you post, do they? So, but happy to share it. So that would be awesome.
You. Yeah.
My pleasure. It's been a really good joy to just interview you today. It's
I've
lovely.
enjoyed it, yeah.
And, yeah, thanks very much for sharing everything with me and our viewers. And how can people contact you?
So there's probably three main ways you can contact me. So social media. So my Instagram tag is Cameron_Ralph, RALPH_SC. So that's my Instagram tag. Facebook, my business page is Cameron Ralph Personal Training.
Okay.
And finally, my email address is cameron.ralphpt@outlook.com.
Okay.
So any one of those ways, please contact me. If you can contact me on all three of them, then at least I'll know that message doesn't get lost. Because unfortunately, for some reason with my Outlook, it decides to send so many new emails into my spam, even when it's just a normal person.
Oh, really?
So it's kind of frustrating. So I probably spend a lot of time looking at my spam thinking, yeah, this is nonsense. But then you see that one name and you're like, oh. So please, so it's nothing personal. For some reason, my account just sends a load of stuff to spam straight away. Contact me on any one of those three, if not all three of those platforms. Instagram's probably the best one because one, it won't get lost, and secondly, I'm quite active on there. So
perfect.
That's that. How about yourself, Kim? Where would people find you?
Well, mine's Facebook. It's currently Kim Searle Midlife Mentor, but I've changed it to Emotional Mastery. But because of the coronavirus, they haven't approved that yet. And LinkedIn, just Kim Searle. So I'm more active on LinkedIn and Facebook. Not so much Instagram, although that's just about to change, and I have no idea why I'm on Instagram. There's 3 accounts, and I don't know how that's happened. Who understands? But thank you very much for asking.
That's right. But again, it gives people the chance to obviously hear what you do, and then if I can share this in any way on my platforms, then more than happily, because I think especially in this time where people are probably starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable as such, stuck in the house, not being able to get out and have those social connections. Hopefully, if they can have someone like yourself who can help them shift their mindset or get them to feel a bit more positive out of the situations, or again, it's perspective. If you can get them to change their perspective on the outlook of this situation, I think so many more people would be like, okay, it sucks I can't go out, but at least this way it gives me the chance to spend more time with family, or gives me a chance to work on a new skill. So
it is about mindset. You're absolutely right. So we're going to be looking very forward to your book about mindset. So
yeah, hopefully have some gold in there that people can take away.
There will be, because it's going to be. So big thank you, Cameron, for being with us today, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in. I hope this has been interesting. Do reach out to Cameron. He's lovely, and I know from some of the feedback I've seen that he's doing really, really well with his client. Tune in again next time. I've got a couple of other people lined up that should be interesting as well. My name is Kim Searle, Emotional Mastery. Thank you.